Bihari. Jai Amaswa Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Godhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए, जमुना माई की जाए, गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए, स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए, all glory to the Assemblly, all glory to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the revered speaker for today, His Grace. Oh, Prabhuji, please forgive me.
Oh, your
all
name is there.
KRIPANIDHI Prabhu, yes. KRIPANIDHI Prabhu. Prabhuji, thank you so much for being here. No problem. We'll fix it, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, what is our revered speaker is KRIPANIDHI Prabhu, our beloved uncle. And we are very glad to have your association once again. I think we have a series of verses to discuss today. We have, I think, 4 verses or 3 verses. So I'm going to put them up on the screen, and then probably will take it over from me. It starts from 27 to 30. So let's do that.
Would you like to chant the Sanskrit, Prabhu?
I would, yes.
Oh, good, go.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna.
To do it. Are you doing it? I'm not hearing anything. Text 27.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Okay. So starting from text 27 of chapter 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vaikritastraya eva ite deva saragascha satama Vaikarikastu ya pruktaha komarastu bayatmakaha. Translation. O good Vidura, these last 3 creations and the creation of demigods, which is the 10th creation, are Vaikrita creations, which are different from the previously described Prakrita, which is natural creations. The appearance of the Kumaras is both. That is both the 10th creation, Vaikrita and Prakrita. Texts 28 and 29. Deva sargaschas Davido vibudaha pitaro shuraha Gandharva pshara sasida yaksha raksham se charana Bhuta preta pishachascha vidyadreke naradayaha dashaite vidurakyataha saragaste vishwasrikritaha. Translation. The creation of the demigods is of 8 varieties. 1, the demigods. 2, the forefathers. 3, the Asuras or demons. 4, the Gandharvas and Apsaras or angels. 5, the Yakshas and the Rakshasas. 6, the Siddhas, Charanas, and Vidyadharas. 7, the Bhutas, Pretas, and Pishachas. And 8, the superhuman beings, celestial singers, etc. All are created by Brahma, the creator of the universe. Do you want me to read the purport, Prabhuji?
Sure.
Okay. Purport, as explained in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Siddhas are inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where the residents travel in space without vehicles. At their mere will, they can pass from one planet to another without difficulty. Therefore, in the upper planets, the inhabitants are far superior to the inhabitants of this planet in all matters of art, culture, and science, since they possess brains superior to those of human beings. The spirits and the jinn mentioned in this connection are also counted among the demigods because they are able to perform uncommon functions not possible for men. Text 30. Ata param pravakshyas atam param pravakshyami vamsham manbantaranicha evam raja pluta shrashta kalpatishu atma buhari shrejati amoga sankalpa atma ivatmanam atmana. Word for word translations. Ataha, here. Param, after. Pravakshyami, I shall explain. Vamshan, descendants. Manvantarani, different advents of manners. Cha, and. Evam, thus. Raja Plutaha, infused with the mode of passion. Shrasta, the creator. Kalpa Adishu, in different millenniums. Atma Buhu, self-advent. Harihi, the personality of Godhead. Shrikati, creates. Amoga, unfailing. Sankalpaha, determination. Atma Eva, he himself. Atmanam, himself. Atmana, by his own energy. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Now I shall describe the descendants of the Manus. The creator Brahma, as the incarnation of the passion mode of the personality of Godhead, creates the universal affairs with unfailing desires in every millennium by the force of the Lord's energy. Purport. The cosmic manifestation is an expansion of one of the many energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creator and the created are both emanations of the same supreme truth, as stated in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Janmadi Asya Yataha. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Divisions of the Creation. Hare Krishna.
Haribo, we offer our respectful obeisances unto Vedavyas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskricha, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswati Vyasa, Torajam Udirayat. Nasta Pre Shrabadeshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gena Gena Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I thank you very much, devotees of African Yatra, for inviting me to say a few simple words on this third canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Divisions of the Creation. So, Srila Prabhupada was very adamant about challenging the atheistic scientists. Every morning walk, when devotees would go with him, I only went on 1 or 2 walks with Prabhupada. He would start, what are the scientists saying today? That's simply like frogs in the well, speculating and, oh, how big is the universe? This big, and suddenly the frog explodes. So the unfortunate assumption of the scientists in modern days who dominate the what we call the learning procedures, or the learning formulas, or the academic world, they, for the most part, are towing the line of atheism, because they say there's nothing more than matter, because their instruments that they produce can only study matter. However, they have no idea. When I ask the scientists, do you love your wife? Do you love your family? I love my family. Show me love under a microscope. So this is called empiricism, or reductionism, or positivism, the two tools of empiricism, which is a fancy word for saying seeing is believing. We can reduce all reality down to its basic building blocks, and we can positively identify them. So they can go down to the atom. Now they're going down to the subatomic particles, the particle zoo, as they call it. Krishna warns in Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 types of human beings: the devotee or sura, and the asura, the demoniac class of man. And because of the influence of Kali Yuga, Tadora Justamo Babo, Kamo Labadayasye, Cheta Eteranavridam, Stita Pragya Prasidati. Unless one can overcome the modes of passion and ignorance, one cannot come to understanding spiritual matter and the nature of Krishna, or God. So the scientists, they study matter, and so it's like a bottom-up investigation. Whereas we accept, Prabhupada said, our proof is the Guru Parampara. Imam Vishvashvate Yoga Proktavam Aham Avyayam. Vivishvan Manave Prahur Manu Ikshvakave Brevet. Krishna says in the 4th chapter, Gita, that I spoke this great knowledge of the supreme absolute truth to the sun god Vivishvan millions of years ago. And he passed it down to his Manu, sons of Brahma, who passed it down to Ikshvaku, the king of the Sun dynasty, Maharaj Ikshvaku. So we accept this knowledge, which is perfect. It's beyond the imperfections of human beings.
Where is he?
The human being has 4 defects: imperfect senses, a tendency to cheat, make mistakes, and always an illusion. These are the 4 defects of modern man. So they say, Satyam apratishtam te jagadahur nishvaram, that there is no God in control, there's no foundation to the world, to the universe. It all happened by chance. We're living in a Goldilocks universe. So here Maitreya Muni is explaining to him a different story. Now all the different species of life did not evolve from a common amoeba, a common ancestor like a germ. This is their theory. But from superior comes inferior. So Lord Brahma is the first created being. He's taken Atma Boom. He has one single parent who is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And he appears on the lotus flower, and he performs tapasya and austerity, and he becomes enlightened. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaya, becomes enlightened, and therefore he becomes empowered by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to generate all the various species of life. Of course, Brahma himself is an effect of the greater cause. In the Brahma Samhita, he sings, Yasyaika nishvasita kata yata atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja yata andanata Vishnur mahasa ihayasya vibhuti binam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Brahma himself states in his song, Brahma Samhita, in the 5th chapter, Yasaika Nishvasita Kata Atavalambya, Jivanti Loma Vilaja, Yata Andanata, that Karanadaksha Vishnu, an expansion of Lord Govinda, from his pores on his body emanates billions and trillions of universes, Andanata, with Lord Brahmas. Andanata means there's a controller within each universe. That is Lord Brahma, the first created being. He is known also as Guna Avatar, mode of passion. To create, he needs a mode of passion. So from Brahma's mind, and he's empowered to generate all the 8,400,000 species of life. The antithesis, the argument to this, what the foolish, as Prabhupada said, the foolish mundane wranglers say, that asatyam apratishtam tejaka, there's no God. There's no Supreme Lord. There's no Supreme Person. There's no deity. We don't accept it. So this is atheism, which is within the heart. Pumsos trio maitani bhavametam, tayor eva hridaya grantim ahu, ato griha shetra sutaptivitayar janasya ahammamiti. That because the living beings, the human beings, are overwhelmed by this desire to enjoy the material world, a knot in the heart develops, a knot which induces them to try to claim proprietorship over the world. They think that this world belongs to us, human beings, and we're meant to enjoy it. And that everything came from a big explosion. Then there was a primordial soup, and out of this primordial soup, some slimy little creatures came, crawling out. They have no idea how life came. No idea. Pure speculation. So when we challenge them, they become very angry because Hiranyakashipu, when Prahlad Maharaj was preaching to his classmates, he was saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all powerful, all omniscient, all knowledgeable, all pervading, and he's full of various energies. Natasya karanam cha vidyate, natat shamasya vyadikastra jisyate. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate Swabhavaki Gana Bala Kriya Cha. In the Shvetasvar Upanishad, said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so inconceivable that he can create with his own eyes. Like Karunadaksha Vishnu is just breathing, and all these little capsules of galaxies are emanating from Jivanti Loma Vilaja, Yad Anantanata. All these universes where Lord Brahmas are coming out of the pores of his skin and out of his breathing. And his one breath is 311 trillion solar years. Inconceivable. So this is all coming from the Shakti of Krishna. Sarvasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate Swabhavaki Gana Bala Kriya Cha. That is inconceivable, the Shakti of Krishna. Although he's just lying in the lap of Mother Yashoda. He's conquered only by Prema Bhakti. He's being tied up by Mother Yashoda because he's a naughty boy. And Mother Yashoda, the pure devotee of the Lord, is feeling this parental love and trying to discipline her son, Krishna, who is actually the source of Karunadaksha Vishnu. Ramadi Murja Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Krishna Swayam Sabhavavat Paramapumanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That all these various avatars, here Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Vishnu, they are the guna avatars. Lord Brahma is empowered by Krishna. Krishna has invested his Shakti in him with abundance of intelligence. So here, in the final purports here of this particular chapter, 28-29 is describing the 8 varieties, and they're categorized as demigods. Although here we see the bhutas, the pretas, the pisachas, those are like ghostly beings. But because they have mystic powers, like the yakshas, they have mystic powers. They can fly, they can control planets, they can control minds, they have some of the cities. Here Prabhupada mentions that they are being counted amongst the demigods. The spirits and jinn mentioned in this connection are also counted among the demigods because they're able to perform uncommon functions not possible for men. Srila Prabhupada also describes that during the time of Devahuti, her husband, simply by his mystic power, he created an aerial mansion from his mind with lakes and waterfowls and beautiful floral trees, flowering trees, fruit trees. It was an aerial mansion with parks and avenues and abundance of trees and all kinds of fountains. Very beautiful, just by mystic power. So in the days of old, we see that like even in Dwapara Yuga, Arjuna just by mantra could release like a nuclear weapon. And he was also given the Agni Shastra and the Rudra the Agni weapon and the weapon of Lord Shiva to defeat the enemy at the Kurukshetra battlefield. So Prabhupada says that yes, in ancient times, it was the use of mantras. They didn't have to get into ugra karma like they do now, factories, smelteries, just gross materialism. Prabhupada says it's another word for hell, ugra karma. So human beings are very, very, very proud of their materialistic philosophies. We're materialists. We're naturalists, they say. But they have no idea who they are. As Arjuna is chastised by Krishna, Gatasuna Gatasunya, Nanu Sochanti Panditaha. You're speaking like you're very learned. So you're very proud of your inventions and your wonderful, rockets and so on, atomic weapons. But actually, Krishna warns that because of your atheism, pravitim cha nirvitim cha janana vidur asura, nasocham na picha charo nasatyam teshu vidyate, that they don't know what is good for them, nivritim, that the path of dharma, the path of austerities, the path of real knowledge is liberating, but they care only for praviti, instant gratification, bhogaishvarya prasaktanam. So like this, Krishna is empowering Lord Brahma. Okay, you want to enjoy the material world. Here you go, 84 lakhs of species. You can be a frog, you can be a reptile, you can be, animal, vertebrate, human, different types of humans, demigods throughout this universe. However, Krishna says, um, that Mamopecha Punar Janma Dukalayam Shashvatam Napnuvanti Mahatmanas Samsadip Paramam Gati. That beyond this world, if you become a Mahatma, a person of real knowledge, you will go to the Param Gati, the spiritual world. If not, Dukalayam Shashvatam, this material world, even Lord Brahma was in trouble. Even Lord Shiva was in trouble. Vrikashura, he was cutting pieces of flesh off of his body. And ultimately he was going to cut his head off. He was offering it to Lord Shiva, his flesh. And Lord Shiva, no, don't commit suicide. And he gave him a benediction. However, demons, they're always wanting malicious kinds of benedictions to hurt others. So Vrikashura, he got the benediction from Shiva. If I touch someone's head, it'll break open. And so he chased Lord Shiva, his worshipable God, around the whole universe. Finally, Lord Vishnu, disguised as a brahmachari, convinced him, don't believe Lord Shiva. He is always hanging out with ghosts and hobgoblins and, creatures of the dark world, creatures of the underworld. Why should you believe him? Why don't you just touch your head and prove to yourself? So he blew his own head up. So even the demigods, Abrahma, Bhuvanaloka, Punaravartinorjuna, Mamopecha Punarjanma, Naiti Mameti Sorjuna. Krishna says from this planet of Lord Brahma, where there are very high planets, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, those are very high planets. Those planets, at the time of dissolution, those personalities, they go back to the spiritual world. But below that, there is the Swargaloka, sub or secondary heavenly planets, where sometimes people experience exquisite types of sense gratification and live for elaborate years, from a point of view of a human being and so on, and unbelievable sense gratification and so on. But they also have to suffer death at the time of death and so on. And then, of course, there's the middle planets, the Burloka, where human beings are found, the various Varshas, and the various Dvipas. There's seven islands with 7 oceans of different substances like liquor, sweet water, yogurt, milk, etc., different types of beings. Some enjoy heavenly delights. One place where Lord Shiva lives, only females are allowed to live there, Rudradweep. Then, of course, there's the Bharatvarsha, one of the 7 Varshas on Jambudweep. So this is all being described. There's no possibility one can understand the cosmos from the position of a frog in a well. It's not possible. We have imperfect senses. Our instruments are imperfect. So they have these big telescopes in America, in Pasadena, California, the Hubble telescope, the James Webb telescope, and they see some light that's, hundreds of miles and thousands of miles away. And then they make up a theory that the universe is expanding. There's no life except on Earth. It's all foolishness. It's all the mode of ignorance. Therefore, Krishna says, Namam duskritina mudha prapadinte naradama. Mayaya aparita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. That four kinds of rascals or duskrita, mischievous persons, do not surrender unto me. One of them is the highly intelligent scientist, Mayaya aparita jnana. But his intelligence is stolen by illusion. It is stolen by illusion. He has an unfortunate dislike of God. He's an envy of God. Krishna says in the 16th chapter that he's envious of the Supreme Lord who is situated within his heart and in the heart of all other living beings. Just like Hiranyakashipu. He just didn't like Vishnu. And he tried to kill Vishnu in so many ways. He was very powerful. He performed great austerities and tapasyas, and he defeated all the demigods were hiding. But Krishna always has the last word. Krishna is always a little more intelligent than the demons. So why not surrender to Krishna and receive this knowledge? People, we are very interested in the cosmos. What's happening? What's out there? All these galaxies, all these stars, what are they? All these various planets. Prabhupada wrote a book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. And people are very inquisitive, very, inquisitive to understand, curious to know, is there life on other planets? Oh, how can I go to the various planets? Well, if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the whole breakdown. From Lord Brahma, you have his sons, the Manus, you have great sages, you have the 70,000 rishis who were involved with the sun god. They're riding on horses in a chariot which carries the sun throughout the universe. This is described in the 5th canto. And they're glorifying the sun god. They're looking towards the sun god and glorifying him. This chariot is being pulled by celestial horses, and it's moving at 18,000 miles per second. It has different, it sometimes moves in the northern hemisphere, sometimes in the southern hemisphere. One wheel is on the Manasatara mountain range, and it has its orbit. And the more they discover in science, the more they accept or have to accept that there must be some intelligent, powerful spirit, transcendent being behind the universe. They have discovered. They have discovered.
Trying to make time to do that.
They have this. Sorry. They have discovered that the universe is very highly fine-tuned, and one famous astrologer, his name is astronomer. His name is Sir Fred Hoyle. He's a cosmologist. And after working on cosmology for so many years, Nobel Award nominee and so on, he realized that given the four forces in the universe, electromagnetic force, gravity, nuclear strong, nuclear weak forces, and that they're all combined in such a way as to support this universal machine. All the planets are moving in perfect orbits, predictable orbits, The fine tuning is there. If any planet was heavier or weaker, the whole thing would be thrown off. He said there must be some intelligent being or an engineer, so to speak, an engineer, a designer, and an engineer who is carrying on the whole thing. In the Upanishads, it says, Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahanam Yo Vidadati Kaman, that there are billions and trillions of eternals, and the Supreme Eternal is sustaining and maintaining all these various eternals, and that is Krishna or Vishnu. He says, Mayatatamidam Sarvam Jagadavyaktamurtina. I'm spread throughout the entire universe, in every atom, between every atom, as spoken by Lord Brahma, Adantaracha Paramanu Chirantarastam. So, Jagat Avyaktamurtina, Matstani Sarvabhutani, Maite Teshu Chapyam. Although I'm spread throughout this universe, like the sunlight is spread throughout the universe, but the sunlight and the sun are simultaneously one and different. So although Krishna is spread throughout the universe by his Paramatma feature, he's in every atom, between the atom, and in everyone's heart. Still, he says, I am separate from all living beings. I am independent and transcendent beyond the material manifestation. That is the Shakti of Krishna. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. Achyuta Krishna. Achintya Guna Swarupam. He has inconceivable potencies. So here Lord Brahma is generating various creatures of all descriptions. And Prabhupada's purport, he's describing that in Siddhaloka, which is a secondary heavenly planet, they can travel, interplanetary travel, without a big fat rocket, without a rocket that might explode. Just like so many times. I remember when the President of the United States, they were very proud, and these astronauts were going off on a rocket. There was 5 or 6 of them. One was a teacher, one was a doctor, and they're all very proud of their rockets. And it was going, and it just exploded. Everyone was vaporized in a moment from the rocket fuel. So, what is the use? They have no idea that higher beings, far more sophisticated, more brain substance than them, can travel, interplanetary travel. You have to have the right qualification. If you want to go somewhere in the world, you want to go to France, you want to go to England, somewhere, you want to go to Nigeria, you have to qualify. You don't just make up some fake visa and go into another country. No, you have to qualify. The Srila Prabhupada said you have to qualify to go to the higher planets. They never went to the moon. The moon is a celestial planet. It's not made of dust and dirt. It is a celestial planet. Krishna says, I enter into the moon and supply all the juices, the life-giving nutrients and juices in the plants and herbs. The moon is it generates nutritious juices and so on into the vegetables and the fruits and so on. Krishna describes that in the Bhagavad Gita. So how can it just be a barren place with like a deserted place? He said they never went to the moon, and we accept the acharyas. That's what they say. Tat tat evit taro jana utsahan nisyaderya tat tat evit taro jana tat tat utsahan nisyaderya tat tat Karma pravartana. That we follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, the great devotees of the Lord, who are self-realized. One time they challenged Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, how many, that skyscraper over there, how many windows in it? Do you know everything? And Srila Prabhupada said, I know whatever Krishna wants me to know. He'll supply me knowledge. And then he challenged, how many windows in that skyscraper over there? And Prabhupada said, how many mirages in a desert? How many grains of sand? How much water is there in a mirage? He said to him. So like that, he said, this is all materialistic illusion, and they're very proud of it. So we accept the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam as the ultimate truth, the ultimate information, because it is given by Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pyar Ishvaraha. It's given by Vedavyas, the literary incarnation of God. He's transcendental to mistakes. He's not an illusion. He has no cheating propensity. And his senses are not imperfect because he's connected to Krishna, who is all perfect. Therefore, Krishna supplies perfect knowledge to the great acharyas, to the great personalities. The acharya is a representative of Vedavyas, who has been enlightened. And here Prabhupada quotes, Tene Brahma, Janmadi Asya Yataha. He quotes the beginning statement of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, that the source of everything is a person. That is Krishna. And he is not only the cause, but he is the effect of everything. Teleology. Everything has perfect cause and effect, has purpose. Everything has purpose. It's a teleological universe. Wherever there's purpose, there is a living being behind it. No machine has a sense of purpose. Purpose comes from the subjective self, the conscious self, the soul, and the soul is going through life with purpose. So, ajanmadi asya yataha, that this whole cosmic creation is produced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the breakdown is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Divisions of creation, cosmology, everything is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's very personal. It is very personal. So we simply have to accept the Guru Parampara, that they're handing down this nice mango, Vedic knowledge, from one hand to the other without dropping it and convoluting or damaging it. It is perfect. And Prabhupada said, Srimad Bhagavatam is the book Bhagavat. There's the person Bhagavat, God, and the book Bhagavat. That is the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a literary incarnation of God himself. So we accept it as truth. Satvikam nirmalam phalam. By practicing bhakti yoga, cultivating the mode of goodness, the heart becomes pure, and sattvam sanjayate jnanam. The knowledge comes from within, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham ridi shani vishtom atasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. I am the source of forgetfulness and remembrance. Jnanam apohanam. Jnana means knowledge, right? Vidaischa sarver aham eva vedya, Vedanta vid vedavid eva chaham. Says, I am the author, I am the conceiver, I am the giver of knowledge, the Vedas, knowledge. And I am the Vedanta, I am the conclusion of all this knowledge. Krishna. He is the conclusion of everything. And aham bija pradapita. Sarvayoni shukuntaya murtaya sambhavantiya. Aham bija pradapita. that I am the seed-giving father of all the yoni, all the species of life. Sarva yoni shukuntaya, murtaya sambhavaya, all the different forms of life. Tesham Brahma Mahad Yonir, Yoni, I am the womb, from the womb, the species. Yoni means species or womb. He says, I am the father, the seed-giving father of all the 84,000 species of life. Whether it's a snake or a lizard or a worm or an amoeba, a germ, an E. coli or a demigod, they're all impregnated by the glance of Lord Vishnu with spiritual Jiva Tattva. The soul enters into form through a seed and gets fertilized, or an egg, which is fertilized, or in the womb. Kamana Divinachana Jehu Janta Papari Strio Pravishtam Adarat Pumsareta Kanashraya. That the male injects the female, her womb, with semina, Astrio Pravishtam Adarat Pumsareta Kanashraya. Reta Kanashraya, the semina fertilizes the egg, and you get demigods or humans or and so on, more higher beings. So these things are all described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and initially in the Bhagavad Gita, and then elaborately in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And if there's a couple of questions, we can, or comments, we'd like to hear from you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Of course, as always, these were series of verses and two wonderful, powerful purports from Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, and you did very good justice to both the texts and the purports so beautifully. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, anyone with questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, you may indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Well, Prabhuji, my first question, Srila Prabhupada in the purport made mention of gene. And I was pleasantly surprised to see Srila Prabhupada use that term, because from my little understanding, some time ago when I used to go out to do Sankirtan, I used to preach to some Muslims. And it was from them I learned about these genes. And so I read a little bit about them. And they are more or less like some spirits that can assume shapes and forms. And I'm quite surprised to hear that it is explained that they are superior to us, human beings on earth. Now, Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the paper that they are superior to us because of their powers. Excuse me. But here is my confusion. They are supposed to be above us, but I also understand that the ghosts, like the Buddhas, they are below the Earth planet. If they are below the planet, my assumption would be that we as earthly human beings should be superior to them, but we are not. If you may shed some light on this, Prabhuji.
Very difficult subject matter.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's described in the 5th canto about the subterranean hellish planets. And it seems that they have a lot, they're almost like reptilian beings. And there's no sunlight that goes there. Patala, Vatala, Utala, Nitala, all the Tala planets, it's described that they're very dark, but they have these serpents that move around, and the jewel on their head gives light. But it's stated that they enjoy far more superior sense gratification than here in the earthly area, the Bhumandala. We live in the Bhumandala, the area where the sunlight extends to, the Bhumandala area with the 7 dvipas and 7 oceans. So, in a sense, although they're Patalas and Atalas and Vitala planets are in the lower, very low, down by Garbhodaksha Ocean, it's described there in the 5th canto that they have more facility for sense gratification and that they have some mystic powers. The yakshas are described as unsavory beings. They're almost like rakshasas. They're maybe like a jinn, a ship. They can shapeshifters, take on different forms. At the same time, they're considered superior to human beings because of these mystical powers they have, you know. And they actually came to the rescue of the Pandavas when the Pandavas were in a forest, and Duryodhan thought he'd come there and make fun of the Pandavas when they were in exile in the forest. And the Yakshas came and destroyed Karna and Duryodhan. This is in the Mahabharata. And just because they didn't like the behavior of Duryodhan trying to, flaunt himself in front of the poor, destitute Pandavas who were living with nothing in the forest. So that in there it's described that the Yakshas have a lot of power. Another case in the Mahabharata is when Bhima went to a lake to get flowers for Draupadi, and the Yakshas attacked him, and he did kind of destroyed them. But they had these mystic powers. They could go up in the sky. They could produce different types of forms and so on. At the same time, they're considered not as perhaps as a good sophisticated position as human beings who have the opportunity to cultivate spiritual life, especially on this planet. We are given an opportunity because there's suffering and happiness here, dualities. That is a very good place for those who want to cultivate Krishna Prema and go back home, back to Godhead in Kali Yuga. Described as a very, very conducive place, this Earth planet. It's described demigods who are trying to take birth in the wombs of the Hare Krishna women, devotees, so they can quickly go back to Godhead. So because like Bhutas, ghostly beings and so on, they're the Brahma ghosts who are very powerful. They have mystic power. They're obviously kind of a lower kind of being, but at the same time, as Prabhupada is saying here, they've been counted as demigods because they're able to perform uncommon functions, not possible for men. Gatotkacha, the son of Bhima, was half Rakshasa. And at nighttime, he became very powerful. The Rakshasas became very powerful. But they're also very unsavory species. They like to eat the flesh of human beings. They're very ugly. They smelled ghastly. They smelled terrible. And, Ram, he killed the host of Rakshasas in the Dandakaranya forest at the behest of Vishwamitra Muni. So although they're very powerful, they have powers, mystic powers, like Gatotkacha and various Hidimba Rakshasas. Ultimately, they're not considered as, as fortunate as lowly human beings like us who can Atata Brahma Jigyasa, pursue spiritual life and devotional service to Krishna. So it depends on the context, I suppose, the context of and the perception. What is superior? What is inferior?
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I would like to share something on the screen
Sure.
to help ask my question. This is from the Christian Bible, the New Testament, the first book of the New Testament, to be precise, which is Matthew. And it says the Beatitudes, where Lord Jesus Christ shared lots of wisdom. And then the verse 15, Lord Jesus Christ said that neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And I put this verse up here just to begin my question, that I tried on YouTube and Google. These are the expert gossipers we have at the moment. YouTube, Google, to see if ISKCON as an organization, we have interfaith dialogues. And sadly, I did not come across many, if any at all. And we have this wealth of knowledge. I mean, as I was listening to you talking about even this guy, I didn't even know that he is from Bournemouth. He, Fred Hoyle, who came up with this, what is the name? I can't remember the name. My brain is frozen.
Fred Hoyle? Fred Hoyle?
Fred Hoyle, yes. Yeah. Yes. He came up with this Big Bang Theory. Yes.
Yeah, then he kind of rejected it.
Yeah.
And then he was ostracized by the academic community.
Yes.
But ultimately, he said, yeah, he disagreed with that theory. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, my concern is, of course, I'm not excluded, but I do not know much. We have such wonderful, knowledgeable devotees in ISKCON. Why is it that we do not come out to turn on this light? We have this light which is hidden under a bushel. And Lord Jesus Christ is saying, we don't do that because we want to benefit the people in the house. So it seems to me that we have so much and we are not giving out a lot to the world. And the world is suffering. Like you rightly said, the scientists, they're coming up, we discovered this, we discovered that. But whatever they claim to have discovered, if it is actually true, are already there in the Bhagavatam, in the Vedas. So is there a way our leaders and senior devotees could encourage and prepare devotees to come out and share this knowledge with the world? This is Prabhuji.
I don't know. Every time I saw Prabhupada, which was 5 or 6 times in, but not 5 or 6 moments, but I would be with Prabhupada for a week or 3 or 4 or 5 days when he came to Los Angeles. Every single Bhagavatam class, at the end of the class, he would say, therefore, I'm emphasizing distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. by hook or crook, distribute my books. He said, if they touch my books, their lives will become perfect. He said that. I heard him say that. They don't have to read, just touch it. These books are very powerful. And we distribute books all over the world. So I would say that is light. That is the candle, the light of Srimad Bhagavatam, as it's stated in the Bhagavatam first canto, that in the age of Kali, the Srimad Bhagavatam will spread light throughout the age of Kali. So hopefully in Africa, there's book distribution. There's I see in many countries in Africa, the Harinam Sankirtan, distributing the holy name. The holy name is very, very powerful. Very powerful. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purno Shuddho Nityo Mukto. So when we go out to the public and give the holy name and give Srila Prabhupada's books and give Prashadam, this is very, very powerful. And we may not see the results right away, but there are results. Before Prabhupada came to America, there were not really any vegetarians. Now, there's millions of vegetarians in US, Canada, Europe, perhaps in Africa, but vegetarianism has really taken off. And I would accredit that to Srila Prabhupada's books. They may not want to surrender immediately to Krishna, but at least they realize the Prabhupada's books and the power of the sound, Shabda Brahman. When they read Prabhupada's books, they're becoming purified just by the sound, even if they don't understand it. It's purifying them, like the sun. The Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to the sun. It's dissipating all the darkness. So I feel that this is the real light, this book distribution that Prabhupada so heavily emphasized. And of course, Sankirtan, Yagyai Sankirtane Prayer, Yajantihi Sumedha Shah, and also distribution of Prashadam, that is food stuff which has been accepted by Krishna. It's actually non-different from Krishna. So these are very powerful weapons in the arsenal of the Hare Krishna movement. And they're going to vanquish the personality of Kali. That's my theory.
Yeah, probably. Thank you so much. I agree with you that Srimad Bhagavatam is the light, especially in the age of Kali, and Srila Prabhupada's books are also the light just by touching them. But I would have loved that we will have so much interest in interfaith. I remember
In what?
Interfaith.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when my Gurudev, His Holiness Spectator Swami Maharaj, was here with us physically. There was no single time he visited us in Africa that we did not organize an interfaith dialogue for him. And it was so catchy, because people will listen to different views. And even if they, like you rightly said, even if they are not going to accept Krishna consciousness, they cannot deny the philosophy. They cannot deny the presentation. And the presentation is not condemning anybody, but you realize that these people, this group has something wonderful. But like I said, I'm not excluded. We are not doing much these days. And I hope that someday we do that. Devotees, if anyone has something to ask or to share, please you may do that before we call it a day today.
So, Prabhu, Sadev, you have to take the initiative and organize some interfaith programs in your country.
If you
Yeah.
bless me, Prabhuji, I love that. And if you bless me, I may be able to attempt doing something like that. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
pray
you
to
so much.
Lord. I pray to Radha Madhava and Lord Ugra Nishringadev to
Yeah.
give you courage and enthusiasm and inspiration to organize some interfaith programs, get some Muslims and some Christians, and get them all together.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I have one last question, which is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, because we're trying to study this Bhagavatam in chronological order. We treated this verse, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 36. And it says, varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Man, who is the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and angels, all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. These series of verses describing Krishna manifested in different forms. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada states that the celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas can sing wonderfully and can entice even the minds of the heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical sense of the Lord. Now, my question from this text and Srila Prabhupada's purport I highlighted here is that considering what is being said here and what was said in the last verse of Canto 3, Chapter 10, as we're so grateful. We did not plan it, but it so happened that you ended the chapter with us. How beautiful it is. That we, human beings, this type of human beings living on earth, are not so special. Yet we read so much about how Krishna and the great sages and the powerful devotees of the Lord come to this earth planet to enact wonderful pastimes. Does Krishna go to these different planetary systems where we have these higher celestial beings to perform pastimes just as he does, like he did in Vrindavan? Does Krishna do that on such planetary systems?
Yeah, that's another challenging question. Wherever there's Glanir Bhavati Bharata, right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir means destruction of religious principles. Krishna or his incarnations will appear throughout the universe. We see that the elephant Gajendra, he was living in very celestial kind of situation, and he was cursed by a rishi and so on. But Lord Vishnu came, and Lord Vishnu blessed him. We know that Manu from the higher planets also would visit Swayambhuva Manu, for example. He brought his daughter Devahuti to Kardama Muni on this planet. And of course, Swayambhuva Manu is from a very heavenly higher planet. So throughout the entire universe, we hear that the Lord has various pastimes. Even at Vaikuntha, the four Kumaras, they were insulted by Giant Vijay. And at the seventh gate to Vaikuntha, well, not quite in Vaikuntha, they cursed Jai Vijay. So these these vicissitudes of life seem to be going on even in the heavenly planets. So I would surmise that the Lord Vishnu, and on his Garuda, his carrier bird, will go anywhere within his universe to resolve these issues. Hiranyakashipu was actually living in Lord Indra's palace. He had taken over Lord Indra's palace, although he's a demon. We know that, so I think throughout the universe, there's this constant conflict between the demigods and the demons. And we know that Lord Vishnu took a form as a Kurma, the tortoise, and he appeared in a great form, Lord Vishnu, and they churned the ocean of milk. Now, where is the ocean of milk? Well, we know that Vishnu, Kshira Dakshar Vishnu, Kir Dakshar Vishnu, is on a higher planet, a spiritual planet, and that he's lying on the Sheshanag. It's in the ocean of milk. So I would say that throughout the universe, the Lord is intervening, divine intervention, to uplift the demigods and defeat the demons. As we know, Mohini Murti, she took a form and she bewildered the demons and got the pot of nectar away from the demons and gave it to the demigods. So obviously these are higher planetary systems where the Lord appears. So from what I've read in the Bhagavatam, certainly not only on this planet that the Lord appears, or in the middle planets that the Lord appears. That would be my take on it.
Well, thank you so much. That is very inspiring, because I'm hoping that, because I'm very sinful, I may not be able to go back home after I quit this body, but wherever I may find myself, if I'm lucky, I may come across the Lord and his devotees enacting pastimes, like doing Harinam Sankirtan, which will not be a loss per se. Thank you so much. Probably, next month, August and September are very busy months for lots of devotees, because we have a series of devotional festivals. But we hope we can have your association. We'll see. We'll get in touch and then we'll see. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, as long as you're chanting the holy name of Krishna.
Yeah.
As long as you have Krishna on your tongue, you're going back to Godhead. If Ajamil, he chanted Narayan and he was a murderer and, all kinds of things, a thief, then he went back to Vaikuntha. So you are definitely guaranteed. Prabhupada gave his guarantee. Simply keep chanting. Prabhupada said, I give my guarantee. So don't worry, Prabhu. You're blessed. You're blessed by Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Through you, of course, yes, through you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our beloved uncle and grand uncle, His Grace KRIPANIDHI Prabhu, for being with us today after a short break, because we've missed a couple months, for being here today and sharing His love and wisdom with us. Oh, please, you may all unmute. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha Kalparibhascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha, Sridhana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo.
All glories to the Vaishnavas of Africa. All glories to Hare Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. See you again.
Thank you.
Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Hare
Hare
Bol.
Hare
All
Krishna.
Paristis, Grace
Hare
Kripanidhi Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Param Guru Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Jai.